Patch 6.11 is out, and it is more than just releasing the ultimate content. We are looking at very significant PvE as well as actually very many PvP changes, so definitely keep your eyes out for that because we're going to be covering them in this video. First up is going to be the PvE, so these are not the PvP changes. We will see these PvE changes reflected in Dragonsong War Prog. The first up is the Gunbreaker that is getting super incredibly buffed, and so the Gunbreaker has an ability called Gnashing Fang that goes into what I have called in the past during my Gunbreaker Ultimate Guide video in the past, the Gnashing Fang combo. So this is going through Gnashing Fang, Savage Claw, Wicked Talon, as well as then spamming continuation for a bunch of abilities here. So each component of this Gnashing Fang combo, the continuation abilities included, are going to be given 20 more potency. Therefore, this means that the Gunbreaker is going to have roughly 120 more potency every 30 seconds to work with, or that's going to be 240 potency every minute. Deniably from this, Gunbreaker is probably going to be pushed up significantly higher in the FF logs. I don't think it's going to like absolutely blow everything out with the water, but I do think that this is going to definitely bring it more in line with the Dark Knight that is absolutely shining on the logs right now. Next up is the Dragoon that is going to be getting heavy quality of life buffs. While these do look like two separate skills, jump really turns into high jump, and they're just trying to propagate the change through all the levels. So now when you cast jump, that's going to change obviously to Mirage Dive to reduce button bloat. There's going to be a little bit of a delay there for people who are like used to like mashing or something, aren't going to have a unintended cast go off. Super small quality of life, but I know that this is something that will definitely make people happy. Now, Samurai mains have had a little bit of a go. I have famously been calling it that they are now maidenless because dancer buffs like Devilment doesn't work to buff them, Chain Stratagem doesn't work to buff a lot of things, so it is actually nice to see that there are going to be some potency increases. Specifically, Midari Setsugeka, Keishi Setsugeka, and Shoha are looking at potency increases, and so hopefully this is going to help Samurai mains feel a little bit better about everything that happened. I still won't dance partner you. Or Chain Stratagem, or the Bard buff. Oh my god. I don't know what I think about that still. Next up is our last PvE buffs, which are actually coming to the Machinist, which in my opinion is very much welcome. And so the Machinist's Wildfire was previously buffed in 6.1, but now 6.11 is bringing potency increase per weapon skill, increased further by 20 potency, up from 200 to 220 potency per weapon skill. Hopefully this is going to give the Machinist a little bit more edge and a little bit more oomph, because this is going to line up with the 2-minute window buffs, and obviously anything in the 2-minute window is going to reflect very positively. So again, we're going to need to wait until logs come out to see the full ramifications of this. Now, to absolutely no one's surprise at this point, is Dragonsong's Ultimate, the Dragonsong's War Reprise is going to be released here, and I don't know what else to say on this. This is going to be absolutely amazing. My group is going to be taking it slow and steady because it is a marathon for us. We are not racing. I am not about that life. I have a full-time job. I cannot do that. Not a full-time job and like another one. What have I done? But yeah, to say the least, I am absolutely like mind blown excited for this. I am so freaking excited. I mean, if you are looking for someone to support, I will definitely point you at GeraldHart, who is going to be joining my team, actually playing Dragoon and Reaper. So that is going to be absolutely amazing. And so if you want to watch him and give him some support, please go head over to his Twitch channel. He's actually going to be streaming 10 hours a day. So send some love to GeraldHart for sure. I love him so much. Like, seriously, hands down, can't recommend him enough. Okay, cute palette cleanser's over, and now it's time to go into the PvP changes. These are not PvE changes. I cannot emphasize that enough. I'm gonna get comments that are gonna be like, what? These aren't PvE. Yes, these are the PvP changes. The PvE were covered before. Just know I'm gonna be told that in my comments, and I'm so scared. First up, we're looking at the Paladin, where Holy Sheltron is having the damage taken reduction increased from 10% right now to 20%. So that's gonna make them a lot beefier. Next thing is that Atonement is receiving a moderate buff with the potency increased from 6,000 to 8,000. I'm not sure how much this is going to help the Paladin, because the Paladin is a little bit lower on damage in general than even that, but hopefully this will help push them. Next up is the Warrior is getting a little bit of a nerf, and so damage converted into HP from the Bloodwetting skill has been reduced from 100% to 75%, so that is going to be a decent hit. Obviously it's still going to be really good, but it is going to definitely hit their survivability a fair bit. Barrier strength has also been reduced from 20% to to 10% of maximum HP. So Warrior survivability definitely going down. Dark Knight is actually getting a little bit of love here, and so Shadowbringer is going to have its damage increased from 4,000 to 6,000. Again, Dark Knight, we'll have to see how much this actually impacts. I'm not sure if it'll be that much, but the Blackest Night, which I do think will be definitely really impactful, is that its recast time has been reduced from 20 to 15 seconds, so that's a 25% reduction cooldown. Okay, now there's the Gunbreaker, and we're going to be breaking this down piece by piece. And so the first buff is that Double Down has its potency increased from 10,000 to 12,000, so a little bit harder hitting. Rough Divide now has a quality of life, or could you call it a quality of life? Movement speed in PvP is so strong, but Rough Divide now has an increases movement speed sprint buff attached to it, which is going to definitely help the Gunbreaker stay in the action. Much needed in my opinion, I think. Now is a bigger one for quality of life that I don't even know, like this is actually going to be significant, very significant, is Draw and Junction. The status affects Junction Tank and Junction DPS and Junction Healer, because that's just how that ability works. No longer expire when you're incapacitated, so that means that if you get knocked out after getting that, you're still going to keep it. Very, very, very important buff. Now Relentless Rush has had a little bit of a DPS increase, with the potency increased from 3,000 to 4,000. Not sure if that's going to be too significant, and the increase to the damage that that particular target takes from 3 to 4%. Not crazy good, but I think that it could be helpful. Nebula is getting almost double the duration, having its effect duration bumped from 6 to 10 seconds. And then Aurora, which is the heal over time effect, has its potency increased from 6,000 to 8,000, which I can say for a fact is definitely going to help. Any kind of healing being buffed is very, very nice in PvP. Mulk is getting a decent buff from the pressure point effect being increased from 8,000 to 12,000. Ninja is getting a solid quality of life increase, with the effect duration of Bunshin ability increased from 15 to 30 seconds. So double duration, very, very much going to be welcome. Next up is the Samurai, that is unfortunately getting a decent bit of nerfs. I do think that it's very much warranted. Shockingly not to their ult though, but Hisatsu Chiten, I hope I'm saying that right, Chiten, is its damage reduction is now decreased from 50 to 25%, making them a lot more squishy. And then Minuchi, I apologize, has its stun duration reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. Again, Samurais are still going to be ulting people off the payload. It's going to be brutal, so we'll see how much this impacts. I'm not sure if it's going to be that crazy. Reaper is getting a few buffs, and first of all, the barrier strength of Arcane Crest has been increased to 12,000 potency, up from 8,000, and then the cure potency to the effect of that is up from 4,000 to 6,000, and again, any healing buffs are going to be very good. And then for their ultimate, the Tenebrae Lumurum, I apologize, is having its time to fill up the limit gauge being reduced, and so they're going to be limit breaking more often. Bard is getting a very nice change, a buff surprisingly. I love the Bard, where the damage dealt from nearby party members is going to be increased from 5 to 10%. Again, very welcome. I don't know if needed, but very welcome. For the Machinist, the Scatter ability has its potency increased from 4,000 to 6,000. Not too crazy, but what I find more interesting is Aether Mortar, which is them putting it down, has a barrier strength increased from 2,000 to 4,000 potency, and so that is definitely going to be very, very, very much appreciated support utility. Could this be added in PvE? Am I crazy? I think that this would be a nice PvE effect. I'll get cancelled on Twitter for saying that, but I think it'd be good. Dancer's getting a whole bunch of buffs. Starfall Dance potency increased to 10,000, so 2,000 more. Honing Dance increased by 1,000. Curing Waltz has its recast time reduced by a third, from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, so much more available. Utility is always great. Saber Dance is having more potency from 8,000 to 10,000. Black Mage, just to keep it short, is getting buffs to Fire, Blizzard, Flare, Freeze, just in terms of potency. Oh yeah, Nightwing is also getting that. Then Soul Resonance is getting a rework where the duration of Polyglot is being increased from 30 to 60 seconds, so it's going to be very good quality of life, as well as Super Flare is now that the effects, like targets within that, is going to actually be hit, even if they're not like a direct line of sight. I think are going to be hit by this a lot more. Redmage is actually going to get a bunch of nerfs. Do I think that this is going to make Redmage bad? No. When people first told me, oh, put Redmage is lower, I'm like, no. We're looking at Riposte having its damage lowered, Pikachu having its damage lowered, Enhanced Redoublement having its damage lowered, as well as Resolution Silence is now going to be 2 seconds rather than 3. White Mage is being nerfed in an interesting way. So Afflatus Misery is getting 2,000 less potency, it's still strong. And then Afflatus Purgation, the ultimate, is having its stun duration reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. Surprised it's not the LB speed though. Scholars Adlo and Biolysis special effects, which is the damage mitigation as well as the damage amplification for their team, time are being increased from 10 to 15 seconds, just keeping it all consistent, which is super nice. 1/3 the duration, really going to be nice for the uptime. Then lastly but not least is Astro is getting a little bit more damage on Macrocosmos. Now, let me know what you guys think. I am actually so hyped for this patch, Dragonsong War Ultimate. As always, like, leave a cat daddy on that subscribe button, like it, smash that cat daddy. See you all, have fun.